conversation will rule the nation on face-to-face basis when we blast off. It's real on the dance floor, on the turf of the court. Yeah, we here for the sport, so take your mask off so I can hear your ass talk. Let me hear you explain. Hold the thoughts on your brain. Is your ass smart? Spit facts and real talk. I need that shit from the street that make you think real deep and take a long walk. This podcast is hella lit with my man JD Vince and Skizzo Blizzo.
What it do, family? Welcome back. You know what it is, man. Mask Uncovered Podcast. You know, we took a little break, but, you know, I had a death in the family. My man Skizzo's, he's out there, you know, dealing with some family things himself. So it's just good to be back in the house, man. Just putting together another podcast. I got some special guests with me tonight. Starting to my right, we got
Coach Firmin out of FirmFit training over in Brockton. That's where we're established. That's where we basically, like, we started out on Center Street. Now we're on Skinner Street, 60 Skinner Street in Brockton, Mass. We've been out here for about 3 years. We came in here by the time 2019, right before the pandemic. We opened this little location, which we are right here, right now. I have a little ring. We have several bags. We have several individuals, several guys that we train with. A couple of decent contenders, a couple of hard hitters. Everybody trying to do their thing, trying to basically like step their game up and try to reach whatever goal that they're trying to accomplish and things of that nature. So we up in here. Glad for my man to basically putting us on and basically giving us an opportunity to get a little bit of light on our business, and we appreciate the love. So always a pleasure to interact with individuals that basically like, you know, I come in and show us a little love. You know what I mean?
And definitely. And who else we got in the house?
Carlos, call me C, from Brockton, Mass. Coming out of FirmFit all day, you know. I ain't got much else to say.
Not that's all good, but also, if you go back and watch, or some of our true followers, you guys know that some of our podcasts were done in this environment right here. So this is Coach Firm right here, FirmFit. You already know what it is, man. He was able to open his door to us, allowed us to do a few podcasts in here.
Yes, sir.
So thinking back, like, you know what? Now we got a little bit more of a following. Let's return that same, I ain't going to say favor, that same justice, you know what I mean?
Same love.
Yeah, because that's how we're supposed to do. We're supposed to operate, move off one another.
Yes.
And again, this is just something else to put his brand on the map, and also maybe some of his fans become some of my fans, and this is how we're going to continue to grow. So, speaking of FirmFit, man, like, so where'd you get the idea of FirmFit? Like, how'd that start for you?
Well, my last name is Firmin. So basically, like, the name of the business came from the FirmFit because of my last name, first and foremost. At first, I didn't want to train anybody because it's like it's so hard to train a person, because it's like, as I was talking to C earlier, a lot of individuals are not coachable. If a person is not coachable, that means you can't really try to implement something to that person, and that person already feel like, oh, I know everything already. So it's a little bit hard. So it's hard to try to train somebody if the person is not coachable. The person might pay you to train, but he's not coachable. You feel like he already has the answer. So that's why I never try to train anybody. But my boy Kevlar, he's not gone, but basically, like, you know, he's incarcerated right now. That was basically the first individual that I've ever trained, and he was about to go to doing a tour with some guys, some rapper guys. I believe it was the guys from the Bronx there, Terror Squad or Fat Joe or somebody. So he wanted to get his hands a little bit better. So he knew that I used to do my thing back in the day. So he approached me, which was, this is about almost 10 years ago. We're talking about 2016. He approached me and he was like, "Hey, what's up, Frizz? I'm basically, I'm trying to get my hands right because I'm trying to go on this little tour with these individuals, and I don't want to basically be in a situation where basically like my hands a little bit, you know, a little sluggish." Yeah. So I was like, I don't like training people because it's like I don't want to tell you to do something and you feel like, hey, I got the answer already, and then I don't want to put that person in that predicament. But he was like, hey, listen, I'm going to listen. Whatever you want me to do, that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to go from there. So basically, I trained him, and it was just us, just doing our thing one-on-one. Grabbed the mitts. I threw a couple of shots at him. I put the gloves on. He's a big guy. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. This is a big guy. At the time, I was a little bit bigger. I'm still okay, but at the time, I was about 245, 250.
Okay, so
So
still
at the time, he
moving.
was like 300. So you talking about two big guys. We looking like two big bulls. And we training each other and we doing the weights because he's trying to let the body looks good. He's trying to make sure he can put on a tank top and things of that nature. But I wasn't planning on basically like going like, oh yeah, I'm about to train mad different individual. I'm just moving around because just like that's my man. And he's like, hey, listen, let me get a little love from you, get my hands right, whatever. And then we doing our thing. As we're doing our thing, we were over there at CCG on the west side, right there on Sterling Road. Boom, other people started seeing us in the corner. And they're like, hey, what you guys doing over here? Can we get down? And different individuals wanted to get down with the whole cipher. But I'm like, hey, hold on now. It's just me and him. We just doing our own thing. Mind your business.
Can't
Go
trust
over there, do your own
everybody.
thing. You feel me? So we doing our own thing. We just minding our business. We just doing our own thing. But every now and then when we came in, people swarm. Like, hey, what's up? I'm trying to bring my kid here. I'm trying to bring my brother here. I'm trying to bring my son, which I'm like, oh, man. So now we had to basically approach it as a business. And literally, Kev had to basically, like, he was almost like, hey, listen, if they want to do business with you, do business with them. And then, you know what I mean? We set up a payment and charge individuals and things of that nature.
So it's both of y'all together training.
Well, not really, because it's like he wasn't training, but he had the support.
Okay.
Because certain times when you're trying to do something without the right support, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I
It don't
agree.
matter what it is. You can be trying to sell a little piece of clothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got your little brand. You got your own brand as well. So basically, like you're trying to sell that. If you don't have somebody that's in your corner that's telling you like, hey, listen, you will make it. You don't believe in it until
right.
you feel like there's at least one person that's in your corner.
Right.
That support system is the reason why I feel that we started what we started. Because it's like when he was like, hey, listen, if they want to train them. I didn't want to train anybody, but as I saw it and I saw the possibility of what could happen, then I started training different individuals and we started doing our thing over there at CCG. And I had to pay the owner because he started seeing different individuals coming in on a regular basis dealing with us. So we had to basically, like, we had to pay the owner because it's his house. And these guys were coming in and he's like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? So I was like,
But
hey,
didn't
listen.
they have to have
No, they didn't have a membership.
with,
Basically,
so that
like,
people could come and just see you at that people's gym?
this is what happens. So this is a gym. Let's say you have a gym, right? And this person has a membership with you. So that person already has a membership with you, but I can train them in there. But if I'm charging this person X amount of money, but this is his establishment, he's gonna be like, hey, you charging these people, maybe I should see something. But he might not say nothing about that. But eventually I got my own guys that's coming in that don't have memberships, but I asked him, hey, can I bring a guest? But when you say, can I bring a guest, the guest is not coming in to train. The guest is probably coming in just to lift weights with you. But when he starts seeing different things, because that's not what he sells at his gym. His gym is a powerlifter gym.
Okay.
His gym is not a boxing gym. And then I'm bringing people, and the people are not even using his facility for what he provides. So he's like, yeah, hold on now. I got to get my
him out of business.
Precisely.
Yeah.
No, not taking him out of business, but you basically like.
You was trying to sell Doogie on this
Right.
block. On this block.
So he's selling rice. He's selling rice. I'm selling soup.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, hold on. We don't even sell soup here. So he's like, hey, hold on. We're going to have to put some type of my flavor in this soup. So I had to pay him to be able to bring individuals.
Makes sense.
And then the people that came in, some of them, they basically like they wanted to come in on their own time. So basically, I brought them business as well now because it's like when they wanted to come on their own time. So that means they have to have a membership to come in and
That's
work out, hit the bags, hit the speed bag, and do their own thing. Even though you didn't have a boxing facility per se, but it still needed to be, you still got paid. But eventually, you started to see the growth. And he's like, this dude got a lot of people. And he was like, what he charged me to start with, he realized like, oh, snap. I should have charged him a little bit more. Because Like when you come in into your place and you see I got hour different individuals walking in, and then you only charging me maybe $80 for the month, and you see you already seen 8 people in one day. You like, hold on
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
talk to him again. I'm like, hey, hold on. When we sat down, you told me that was
Right,
good.
right.
So then on that situation, I had an opportunity, and I spoke to a young brother over here in Brockton. That's when we went to the first location on Center Street, and we opened our own location. Myself, Steph, a couple other young men. We opened that location, and we basically like because we didn't want to basically keep on changing the prices because the moment an individual starts saying how many people you bringing in, he's gonna be like, yeah,
Keep going
I
up.
need, I
Yeah,
need, I
yeah,
need a little
yeah.
something. So
And
I
at
was
that
like,
point, you could rent out your own spot.
so precisely. So we did our own thing in our own location, and then that location, we moved from there, and then we came over here. So when we came over here, then this location, we've been here, like I said, for 3 years. That's the process. That's the evolution of us as FirmFit. It was FirmFit, but when we first started, it wasn't FirmFit. When it first started, it was just me messing around with my guy Kev because he wanted to get his hands better.
So that idea of, okay, so I see how something's growing, and because I was going to ask you, was this for love or was this for money?
Well,
But I think I kind of got the answer. It seemed like it was you didn't establish this initially out of money.
nah, it wasn't. It wasn't a business idea. It was not a business idea at all.
It was
Not
kinda
even
just
close. It
hooking
was
up your
just.
man,
It was
just
just.
helping
Yeah,
your
he
man.
wanted to get his hands together. So I was like, all right, I do have a little bit of skills in that department. I used to throw them hands back in the day. I still throw them hands, even though I'm an old fella. You know what I mean?
You ain't that old. You ain't that old.
I'm still good for a 1-2. Guaranteed, you catch me in a dark alley, it's gonna be a dark day for you. But so I was like, hey, listen, I'll move around with you, give you a little bit of benefit of my experience, so to speak. But it wasn't like a business idea. Like I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna work anymore. I'm about to do
It was
this.
organic.
It was organic,
It
precisely.
just went like straight through.
So all of a sudden, then when we went to the Center Street location, and it was my own location, and we had bags hanging into the ceiling, and we started basically
And
like
you still with
signing up
Kevin at that
individual.
point still? When you went to Center Street?
When I went to Center Street, Kev came to visit a couple of times, but at that time he was more focused on him rapping
Oh,
and
okay,
him
okay.
doing other
Okay,
things at the same time. He wasn't focused as much
Okay.
on pertaining to the boxing aspect because it's like he didn't come in to be a boxer.
Right.
He came in just to get his
Yeah,
hands
right.
like a short term situation,
Yeah.
just to basically like get his hands right, and then from that point, and he was gonna move on, and then while we were there, myself plus Steph plus a couple other guys that basically like that was with us, we basically like we held it down. We even had a couple of events as well.
Was Big Chris?
Big Chris was part of the cipher at the time. He was. We had an event with him. We had Military John.
Yeah.
He had an event with us. Military Brett. He was part of an event one time. I have pictures of it on the wall and things of that nature in the office. Yeah. So basically, like, and again, it was organic because when we first got there, we didn't even plan on having an event. But there was a couple of little grudge matches, so to speak. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, listen, if we're gonna move around, how about we charge a couple of dollars so see who shows up? All of a sudden, the little place was full, and one thing led to another.
I hate to interrupt, but
Yes,
you
sir.
know something? I think that the audience is missing. We kind of sped up and we're kind of into almost like the now in the last 5 years. What about your own boxing background?
My own
you
boxing.
When did you? How did you get nice with your hands?
I was as a young man. My old man basically like felt that I had potential. Showed me a little love, so to speak. It was more like interacting father son neighborhood as a young guy. You learn how to move your hands.
And this was in Dorchester.
No. That was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then from there, then we went to Dorchester. But before then, in Brooklyn, that's when basically like the whole thing started. That's where it started.
Okay.
And then we started moving around. We started showing our hands. We started basically like having fun with the whole situation. But ultimately, as you know how it is, old guys, they get into situations. And he was, the distance between me and the old man wasn't there. And then the learning curve, so to speak. And then when we came here, I was more focused on football. I didn't focus on boxing anymore. I focused on football. I played football for South Boston High, and
shout out to Southie.
So we played football, and then after the football, I wasn't even thinking about boxing at that time because when we went to school, we went to UMass Boston for business. We didn't think about boxing. Again, like I said, we were still good. We were still all right with the hands, but it wasn't like I wasn't really leaning into trying to do boxing per se.
But you glancing over your ring time. Like you had ring time.
Oh, of course.
But you kind of you got in that ring. You threw those hands. Like you said, you played around a little bit. But
you move around basically. Like we got the opportunity to move around with a lot of people. We moved around with people in Brooklyn. We move around with people in Philadelphia. We move around with people.
Now, when you say
even
move
in
around,
the
audience don't know that term. That's probably a boxing term.
Moving around. If you're moving around with a cat and he's a boxer, he's trying to get you. So basically, like when I say moving around, we boxed, got a couple dollars. It was more under the table type formats. You know what I mean? So I don't want to basically
from
like
10 to 12, from 5 to 15.
The ages that I'm talking about, like I don't want to go into details. The reason why I don't want to go into details, I'm gonna explain something to you. A lot of these stuff back in those days, because it's like
we're talking about 80 years ago.
when dinosaurs roamed the earth and the pterodactyl used to pick us up to go to high school. So a long time ago. So we talking about in the 80s, before internet, before YouTube, before IG. So before this young man was born. So the whole concept is basically like under the table, you could do anything because there was no possibility of somebody streaming your stuff. They can tell somebody about it, but they didn't take pictures. They didn't take videos. They don't have any proof. They can just say whatever the hell they want to say. So it was more like Fight Club. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was in a situation like this, a ring format, and then, you end up finishing something. You charge the neighborhood $10, and then fighters get a couple of dollars. But obviously, it was unsanctioned.
Right.
So that means,
you got time in the ring. Like, you didn't just spend one summer. Like, these people like, you was a boxer. Like, you wasn't just nice with your hands from the streets. You was
precisely.
a boxer.
You're trained. You have to do what you're supposed to do. You have to make sure you eat in the right way. You have to make sure you take care of yourself. But at the same time, what I'm trying to convey is basically like, I don't want to basically put it out there and be like, hey, listen, I moved around with so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. It fell into the category where we basically like we were in a position that we provided a service, not even a service, we provided entertainment. We provided entertainment, and then the neighborhood came and saw us, but it was under the table. And whenever something's under the table, you try not to flash it up too much because ultimately, like, we did have the fun with the situation, but you don't want to be like, hey, so-and-so was involved. So-and-so was involved.
No, I definitely get that, and I definitely didn't want to go that deep or whatever, but I want the people to know that, that you was involved. Like, you was a boxer. Like, you was trained. Like, you was actually round protected. Like, you was in there. So, just to kind of say I was moving around or like I did this. It's it's almost like you was skipping over your own accolades. Like, to be, not everybody could be a boxer, a boxing trainer, open a boxing gym. So I just want the people to know, like, listen, you were born and bred into this. Like, you didn't just wake up one day like, oh, I'm nice with my hands in the street, so let me start, boxing.
Right.
That background needed to be explained to them because I just think it was overlooked a little bit. Like, and probably from your own self, you probably don't want to pat yourself on the back
Right.
knowing that you did it. So I want them to know, shit, he's been through it. He got the rounds. So
Well, I appreciate the love, but like I said, the whole concept, the reason why I'm basically like not dismissing, because just like the past make you into the person that you are today, I'm glad of certain things that happened because I'm still here. But there's a few things I usually basically like I keep it to myself, so to speak. But at the same time, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, I did get opportunities. I did get to move around and did get to get in the ring with individuals I feel like that had enough talents to do certain things. And I feel like even myself, properly motivated, I probably would have done certain things differently. You know what I mean?
Same thing as me.
Yeah.
Like,
So
when I started, it was like I was like 17. But I didn't go like I didn't train with nobody. It was just straight off YouTube, like everything that I did before I came here.
Precisely.
You know what I mean? So I was like 16, 17 around that. And I had a friend of mine who used to like be on our on our street. And he brought in like like one pair of boxing gloves. He just like walking down and he goes, "Oh, I got this right here, let's do this." I'm like, "I bet, let's do this." So then we just like one hand each, just throwing punches at each other. And from there on, like everybody just started coming out boxing with that just one pair. So everybody was putting like one and one, and that was it. And I was like, you know what? I went to Dick's Sporting Goods and I bought myself like 2 pair of boxing gloves. After that, started moving around with like people from my school, people from like other places, like from Boston, just like hanging around in the street, not
just
like
having fun.
you know what I mean? And
just
then
calling up your friends, hey, let's get in the streets and throw
that
some
was
hands
it.
with boxing gloves.
That was it. Yeah,
Shit, that's it.
that was it. And
Now, did you always like boxing
there
as a youngster? Did you watch
No,
like Mike Tyson?
no.
None of that. Like you didn't even have that background. Just
I
one
didn't.
day that.
It
Wow,
was just that
and it
one
sparked
day,
that.
and it inspired me to do it. And to be honest, like the first thing that I really like that really caught me was like the first time when I slipped a punch. I found that shit like dope. I was like, I gotta do this. Like, I was so motivated. I wanted to actually do it, but I was so like, I'm not like the type of dude to like speak. You know what I mean? I'm a quiet type dude. So like,
Well, don't be quiet now. Let us know.
I never,
but
I never had like I didn't have like the heart to go to a gym because I felt like I was afraid of like, oh, I won't be able to do it, so I never went to a gym. But I went like through a coach, you know what I mean? But I did go to 24 in Stoughton, 24/7 Family Fitness.
Okay.
I signed up over there and I was doing it by myself, just YouTube and just going there and then working and going from Brockton to Stoughton. It was just like putting so much excuses in my pocket. So I was like, I gotta find somewhere like close by. So one day I seen Marcos. He was live on Facebook.
Right.
And he was just
Explain who
hitting the
Marcos
bag.
is. You said Marcos. They don't know. We don't
Oh,
know
that's
Marcos.
that's
He's
his homeboy.
like
He
a
trains
longtime
here.
friend. I used to play soccer with
trains
him
here.
at Arnone. We used to like get together a group of kids.
But he
play
was
soccer.
being trained
But
here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
okay.
Yeah, he was here.
He trains he trains with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
so
guy.
So you
Around
talked
too.
to Marcos. He was
Yeah.
live one time or something.
Yeah, so he was just live, just like hitting the bag on Facebook, and I'm like, "Yo, where is that?" He's like, "Oh, it's in Brockton, Skinner Street," and I was like, "I'm gonna go by it one day and go check it out." And then one day I had like the chance to. I came by, met this dude, great fucking coach. Excuse my language.
Nah, man.
But,
Fuck it. It
you
is
know,
what
like,
it is.
This
Man.
dude,
You
like,
gotta let it be known.
when I walked in, the same day, I swear to God, the same day I walked in, it was just like, I feel like I knew this dude for mad long. Like, he made me feel like I'm home.
Yeah.
I felt very comfortable. And like I said, I'm not, the type of person to be out there and just, I don't really speak, but like I felt comfortable. So I felt like this is like my second home.
Yes.
And it gave me the motivation to, go from home and come here. Because from before I went to the 24, sorry, I'm going back.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, go
Before
ahead.
I went to the 24, I had stopped doing like the boxing and everything. And I gained mad weight, mind you. Right now, I'm very happy at where I'm at. I still got a little bit more that I want to go down, but I'm very happy because when I came into this gym, December 21st of 2021, I was 204 pounds.
And what are you now?
Right now, I'm at, because I
201?
went on vacation. No, because I went on vacation. I gained a couple pounds, but I did check today. I'm 193, but before I left on vacation, I was like 188.
Yep. Yeah. I know them vacations
Yeah,
put them
so,
pounds
I
on.
come here, like I said.
Shout out to Cape Verde.
Shout out to
Cape Verde.
Shout out to Cape Verde. Yeah, I am Cape Verdean, by the way.
No,
But yeah,
but I see what you're saying, though, because gyms can be intimidating.
Yeah,
but,
no,
ahead,
it is.
I
It
didn't
is.
wanna cut you off,
And what really caught my attention about this place is that, like, he will give you that one-on-one training, and I feel like one-on-ones are like the best way for you to like train and
To learn to get
properly learn, boxing. You know what I mean? Because when you're in a group class and you're just sitting in the back, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting the love. The only people that's getting the love are the people that's fighting like for that out of that gym, and they're fighting. You know what I mean? And they getting fights for them, so they get in the love. And if you a newbie and you don't know nothing, you just in the back and you just say you're not learning really. I feel. Well, I mean, I don't know how everybody is, but in my eye and my perspective,
I agree.
Like,
I agree with that opinion because it's like certain questions you want to ask, you might not want to ask because when you basically in a group format, in a group, you see like a lot of people talking. Like you said, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
Just like you said, Jay.
Yeah.
It's intimidating to basically like be in a whole cipher and you see a whole lot of individuals and you're like, I don't want to ask that question. I don't want to sound like, because they said there's no stupid questions, but sometimes you're like, I don't want to ask that question. It sounds stupid for me. But on a one-on-one, you can ask that question because it's no longer generic. It's more like smooth. And then you can interact with that individual depending on how comfortable you get with that person that's training you. Because your coach shouldn't be like you looking at him like he's basically like, you know what I mean, he's on the other side of the world. You want that connection with him that you can ask him a question. You can basically like give an answer. You can even be like, hey, in my opinion, you should be able to have an opinion when it comes to dealing with the person who's training you, because there's like a lot of people, that's the reason why they can't get better, because they can't speak to the person that's supposedly training them. So that means you only get information, but you don't get to translate that information into your own words. You know what I mean?
Let me say something to the people, too,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You could tell off the rip, right, if you watching this video, how C was speaking on him. I was going to speak on him in the same manner, which I'm going to in a second, but just how humble he is. He didn't even want to take that as that compliment. He couldn't even sit into that compliment. He started speaking more or less on how everyone should be. So again, just to give you your flowers again, same thing with me. I train here also and train many places, many different trainers and what have you. But again, that one-on-one, that personality trait of, okay, this is what you want to target. Okay, this is where you are in life. Let me figure out a way that's going to get you better, right? So that's not something that every trainer has. They have, okay, this is what I do. This is how I got better. So this is what you should do. This is how you're going to get better.
We're
So
not
I
the
love
same.
it.
And another thing too, a coach's personality. Because you could do a one-on-one with an asshole, and you might not like that.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean? But him, like, you feel like you home. You know what I mean? You feel comfortable. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I've never been. I'll ask whatever it is. I don't care if it sounds dumb or not. And he's always ready to answer. He always got the answers.
You know what I like about it too? In that same breath is he makes you want to come back. So some trainers I've had, and it's like, okay, it's been 2 years since you last worked out. Let's get it all back right now.
Right.
It's like, yo, throw all these plates on. Let's run around the gym 30,000 times. It's like, dude, like, you know what? It took a while for me to get out of shape.
Yes.
It might take me a little bit to get into shape.
Precisely.
So,
It's a
you work
process.
out with coach, and it's
a
like,
process.
you know what? Damn, that was a nice workout. And it allows you to push yourself. Like, you know what? How you feel? You think you want to throw a couple of more plates, or you think you want to go a couple of more rounds, whatever it may be. And you're like, you know what? I think I got it today. But you're willing to come back the next time. So I wanted to, give you your flowers on that. Like your method of training
Yes, sir.
is phenomenal. And that's why, like, even outside of FirmFit, outside of being, trained by you, I like the relationship that we built,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, and hopefully we can keep that moving in, many more endeavors, but definitely I want to,
It's
speak
just
on
like
that too, see.
the sparring sessions, like when everybody's here, we just feel like we home. I know I
Right.
keep saying it, but it's just like, yo, it's super comfortable. This dude is like,
If
he gives a good energy in the room.
if you don't have that comfort level and that respect aspect, especially when it comes to boxing, because it's like sports, you play sports. You don't play boxing. You play basketball, you can go and play basketball anywhere. You play football, you can go and basically like do flag football, whatever the case. I played football.
Even tackle in the grass,
Whatever.
even in the project.
When it comes to boxing, if you're boxing, especially like if you don't know the level of this individual to this individual, so you have to put yourself in a position where a brand new guy has to basically almost be babied until you see what he's capable of doing. You can't just rush him the way you would rush somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take care of your sparring partner. You have to take care of a new fighter. You have to take care of an individual that comes in and he's like, hey, listen, I'm moving around, but I'm not moving around to be a fighter. You know what I mean? Again, C tried to dismiss the whole concept of me calling him a fighter. I'm gonna explain this to individuals. I don't call a person a fighter until you fight. If you just doing pad work, if you just basically hitting the bag, you just using it for cardio, you breaking a sweat, yes, you're not a fighter. The moment you put the gloves on, you put your headgear on, you put your mouth guard on, you get in the ring and you protect yourself and you move around with an individual, you are fighting. You might not be fighting on a point or the level where you basically like, oh, I'm trying to get a championship belt, but you're still a fighter. You can still help somebody get better. You can still protect that person who basically don't even know whether or not he wants to do it for real. You know what I mean? So a fighter doesn't mean like, yeah, I'm ready to fight anybody right now. I'm ready to challenge the whole world. It just means that you can fight. You're capable of protecting yourself and defending from an attack, from a combo, from a specific progression. If he attacks you with that jab from your jab side, you can go towards the two and clear it. You can slip it, move the head, and things of that nature. That means you are a fighter. It doesn't mean you have a contract. It doesn't mean you're trying to have a fight next week, but you are a fighter because it's like I know guys who are here who wants to fight, and I feel you're better than them, and
So
I don't care.
So you
That's
trying
my
to tell
opinion.
me he ready to fight Floyd Mayweather?
No, not in the same weight class. Not in the same weight
Oh,
class.
no, maybe
First of all-
Floyd June
Yeah. so weight class is major in boxing, but the whole concept, you don't want your first fight to be with a cat who's 50 and up. You want your first fight to be with a cat that basically like he's on the same level. You want your first fight to be with a cat. He's not panicking. He's the same way you're panicking in front of a big crowd. You're like, oh my God, look at all these people that came to watch us.
Right.
You want that person to still have the same butterflies in their stomach. You don't want a person that's up in there. He's comfortable and you not comfortable. So you're painting yourself into a corner. You're shooting yourself in the foot by going into a ring with an individual that's not even on your level because he's not going to take care of you.
Right.
He's trying to destroy you. He's trying to look good, destroying you. That's his job, to destroy you. When I'm talking about like if a cat does decide to move around, you want to move around progressively, like the evolution that I explained to the whole cipher. If you basically like you move around with a person, that's why most of the time if you're having a situation, you want to find out how many fights did you have? How many fights did you have? All right, y'all can move around. Same weight class, same experience level, and then you can move around with that person. You can't basically put yourself in a position where you basically like, you've only had one fight, and this person had 15 fights. I don't care if he lost all 15 fights. If you only have one fight, the fact that he had 15 fights, he has that experience. He got what's called leather skin. Leather skin means basically like I got hit so many times, I can take one, I can take two, I can take three. Even though this is your second fight, this is my 15th fight. When you tag me, I'm gonna be like, oh, I've been hit before. I'm Gucci. And then you're gonna be like, oh shit, he didn't do nothing. He literally like it bounced off of him like bullets off of Superman.
Right.
Because he's been there before and he can eat that. That's the reason why you want to put yourself in a position. And if you have a coach and if you have somebody that's in your corner, if you have a manager or whatever the case may be, hopefully they're taking good care of you and they don't put you through the meat grinder and just throw you into a situation where you gotta fight somebody that's basically like so far ahead of you and you just look like a punching bag.
How about
You know
your
what I
own
mean?
personal experience? Have you, when you was throwing those hands, when you was involved with those ring fights, did you ever have any managers, anybody approach you saying, "Hey, come fight for me, come fight with me. I could get you on this match"? I know a lot of stuff you say. You don't have to speak on it.
Of
You don't
course,
want
of course.
to, but
A lot of situations would come to your attention. It's good to have somebody that protects you because it's like as a young guy, as a young person from the streets, from the hood, we don't have opportunities. And if somebody gives us $1,000 and we've never seen $1,000 at 15, 16,
let me get that.
we're talking about 1987.
Yeah, let me get
You know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
Somebody come in and they like, hey, here's $1,000. We're gonna do this. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I'm ready.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody in your corner, like I said, I have the old man, and the old man would be like, nah, we ain't doing that because that's like they would put you in a situation, and then like I said, put you in the meat grinder.
Right.
They make you fight with somebody that you have no business interacting with, and then you
And they eat
get
off
destroyed.
the fight.
They
but
eat off the
now
fight.
you're just
But
one of many.
that thousand is nothing.
Right.
That thousand
So
is nothing for them.
now your life is changed forever
course.
this way, but they just now they finding the next one.
Precisely. That's find the next victim. You know what I mean?
So you had somebody you come to see your father was somebody that kind of protected you from that overhaul of
you need
the nasty
anytime
business.
you need somebody that understands the business aspect. Because it's like everything that you do, it's not just the passion. It's not just the fact that, oh, all right, I'm capable of fighting. I have energy. I have good wind. I got good hands. I got this, that, and the third. But the fact that if you don't have somebody that's telling you, hey, fucking relax. Don't worry about it. Guidance. If you don't have guidance in a situation, you're going to be put in a predicament that you're going to be like, damn, nobody told me. You know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. That's a lot of us. It happens with rappers. It happens with people that basically like you've seen them in movies
Right.
2 times, and then
Yeah.
you're like, damn, I've never seen that guy in the movie
Right.
again. And then you see him like 3 years later, he's in a commercial for whatever. You're like, what happened to this
Aflac.
guy?
That's some shit.
Aflac commercial, whatever. So you like, what
Chicken
happened?
coop. Yeah.
Because of the fact that you were dealing with the wrong person,
Yeah.
or you might even have the right person in your corner, but you're listening to the wrong person.
people. Wow.
Because it's like we all got acquaintances, but not everybody's a friend just because you know that son of a gun. That don't mean oh yeah, that's my friend, that's my boy right there. I should go to bat for him just because you know him. That doesn't mean he has the best intention for you. He doesn't have the right thing. Like he's not trying to do right by you. He's trying to use you as a come up. That's the whole concept of the situation, and I try to analyze it. I try to basically I try to put the bug in the ear of anybody that comes to me. And of course, if a person say, hey, I want to go somewhere else, I'm going to open the door for you. I'm going to hold the door open for you. But at the same time, if you want to stay and you want to ask my opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt if you want to make your own decision, because everybody's their own man. I don't want to basically hold you and be like, yeah, you should stay with me. Nah, I want you to feel like, hey, I want to stick with you because I feel like, you know what I mean, you're going to do right by me, and you analyze it on that level, and then you groove with it.
And
you
that
know what I'm
actually
saying?
and that actually brings me full circle to how you started off with training, your boy at another gym. We'll have to keep giving them a shout out.
Yep.
They ain't paying us. So, and then certain people seeing you operate, see what's going on, and now the clientele builds. Now you rent out another spot. You see that starts to build. Now you got your own spot here where we sit in that
Yes, sir.
FirmFit. And as far as advertising, and I'm listening and looking and I'm talking about myself, ASC, it seems like your advertising should be or could be, and did it grow just by word of mouth?
Word of mouth.
Or did you put money behind advertising itself? Like,
Of
are you
course.
in newspapers and all of that? Like, so where's more your clientele? Did you do both? And two-part question. One is, how did you get, or how are you here today with your clientele? Was it through advertising or was it through word of mouth? And which one of those you think gives you the most clients?
I'm gonna explain this. I'm gonna break it down like this. I'm from the old school. I feel like without a shadow of a doubt, even if you do as much advertising as possible, ultimately word of mouth will be the better suited to basically like get you to where you need to be. Just like C, for example. C came to me. He came to me through Marcos. Marcos was training here, and Marcos was basically like videoing what he was doing, going online. And when C came here, C didn't come here because he didn't even know who was the person who owned the place.
Right.
He saw the live because that's Marcos is his homeboy.
Yeah.
I know Marcos as well. Marcos was training with me. Marcos used to fight with a couple of guys here, spot around and things like that. He's enjoying himself, having fun, and all that. When C came here, because anytime somebody walked through your door, because people can walk through the door. Now, can you keep them? Just like you said.
Right.
Can you
right.
keep that? Can you make that person come back?
Right.
Because she
Right.
could have came in that day and he could have been like, "Oh Jesus Christ, I don't even want to see this person again."
Right. Right.
That's the reality, because that's like I've ran into individuals. They have credentials, they have the place, they have this, that, and the third, and then I'd rather deal with somebody else because of what I feel inside, because of this individual and the potential of that future that we can build together. So word of mouth is stronger, even though I have invested in basically like you can go online. If you go online, you grab your phone and you say find boxing places in Brockton. I will be listed. Obviously, I paid for that.
Okay.
So I did put money into it. Yes, I do have a website. I paid money for that. You know what I'm saying? I do have, I do have the
Social media.
social medias and all of those things and things of that nature. So without a shadow of a doubt, I did invest. I did put work, time, and the focus on the whole aspect of building the business and growing the business. But ultimately, if I train with you and you enjoy the environment, you're gonna tell a friend like, "Yo, I love the way my coach trained me. I don't care how much money I put. That right there, because I didn't even pay you for that.
Right. Right.
That right there is stronger than anything I
right.
paid for.
Right.
I basically train here, and he opens the place for me on Mondays. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So he came to me, he walked in here, he was training with me, getting his hands together, having fun, sparred with a few guys. I like him the same way he says, like, yeah, I like this guy. Obviously, I like them as well, because I give him a key to be like, hey, you're going to open the place. That means anybody that walk in, if they walk in on a Monday and I'm not here, he's my representative.
Wow.
So that means
That's a trust factor.
Trust factor.
Yeah.
So that means if you basically like, this is a guy that I met, he just walked in. He's not blood. He's not somebody that I knew from way back. I'm old enough to be his old man. So basically, we don't even we're not even from the same timeline.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when I was young, he wasn't even born.
Right.
You understand?
But again, back to you and your personality. How many people, when you were young like that, how many older men would have given you that opportunity?
Precisely. I wish there was.
Me too, man. There's so much. Now we can go into a whole new realm of
Precisely. Because it's like, once upon a time, I wish there was an opportunity that I would run into an individual that would make me comfortable enough that I would want to come back. Us as black men, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but us as black men, we don't have that connection from individuals that we wish that we had. You know what I'm saying? We wish like somebody else would basically like give us an opportunity. We wish that sometimes somebody would pat us on the back. You know what I mean? Again, there's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of anger. in our spirit, in our soul, so to
Right.
speak, that we wish that we could take it back. Even me, I do have a bad habit of holding grudges. I hold grudges. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
You're the only one.
You allowed to fuck me only one time. You're not gonna be like, oh, I
That's
apologize that I fucked you.
Pause,
Oh,
pause.
nah, you ain't gonna fuck me 2 times. You know what I'm saying? You only gonna fuck me 1 time. Shit. Trust and believe. Because it's like the moment I feel it, the moment I feel like you were out of character, out of pocket, you're gonna know about it, because I'm not gonna hold it back.
Right.
And you're not gonna get an opportunity.
To do it
You're not
again.
gonna get an opportunity to
Hey,
do it again.
He's a wrong person, bro.
So I'm gonna tell you, and then you're gonna be comfortable with it, because you're gonna know about it. And then if you got some type of situation, we can talk it over. Because it's like you violated. Because there's nobody that can make you not be cool with me except you.
Right.
Somebody can't come in and tell me sees this, that, and the third. No, you can't. Because that's my guy.
Right.
So if there's a problem with him and me, I'll talk to him. I'm not gonna hear the third party and be like, oh, the third party told me. I don't do his say, she said.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he violates, knock on wood, I've known him the short time that I've known him feels like a longer period. But I've never felt one time in my head that I felt like, damn, what's going on with this dude? You know what I
Right.
mean?
No.
I literally feel like sometimes he put himself in a position where, like, almost like he's saying, like, yeah, you can take advantage of me if you want to, coach. Like, nah, I ain't
Right.
that breed.
Right.
I
Right.
wouldn't take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the boys wanted to use the place and they wanted to rent out the place to do some stuff. And I'm like, hey, listen, you watch the place for me. And he's on someone like, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'm like, I'll take care of it. All you got to do is open the door and close the door. You know what I'm saying? Them boys got to clean up.
Yeah.
That type of format.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the groove. That's the rhythm. Because that's who I am. I know you do it. If I tell him to do it, he's gonna do it. If I tell him do X, Y, and Z, he's gonna do X,
Right.
Y, and Z. He's not gonna even ask like, why should I have to do X, Y, and Z? But I wouldn't want to put him in a situation where he feels like, damn, why the coach taking advantage of me? Because he know I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But again, that's why you gave me a key to the place.
Yes.
And I was coming here at 10 o'clock at night. Like,
Yes.
me and my man, shout out to the Hollywood Schizo, man. We gonna talk in a minute. Yo, but for real, like, just to trust somebody, you didn't know me from a hole in the wall. Like, I mean,
Right.
we had been dealing with each other for some months, not for some years.
Right.
I could have been here stealing weights, gloves, anything. But
Right.
obviously you felt something about that trust factor, and that's again how I was asking about back in the days. We didn't give that opportunity, but it's
didn't get
ironic how most of us that grew up, we're around the same age or what have you, 70s babies, low early 69s for some of us that still watch our podcast, but definitely that trust factor, like some of our OGs used to be like, yo, this is what you need to do to get it. It was sports, drugs, entertainment, man. And we knew some of us were smart enough to get out at an early age or start to see something different. But a lot of our folk had to experience negative things in their life to get to a point today. But one thing I'll say now about a lot of our peers is that I see them coaching basketball teams,
Yes.
football teams,
Yes.
soccer teams, baseball teams, boxing. Like,
Yes.
yo, we're giving back and at a higher level. Like, some of us fucked up during our time periods, like that 20 to 30 range, what have you. A lot of my cats spent 10 years in the pen.
Yes.
But like, you wouldn't even know that now. They're 50 years old. You're like, well, that was your past? Like, you was in jail? Like, yo, oh, you did. So the fact that we're better today than we were yesterday,
Yes.
is just always a positive and a plus. And I like being around
That evolution.
black men
That
that
evolution.
move like that think like that, and that assist with, our youth. Like, I coached Brockton basketball. I ain't even from Brockton.
Right.
And I coached my son and my daughter. They was on the team, but after they left from 3rd grade to 8th grade, I still came back and coached 4 or 5 more years coaching 7th and 8th grade boys, just because I wanted to give back to the community. So that's just embedded in some of us, and hopefully podcasts like this will keep that realm going, that there's somebody sitting there that's going to be a youngster that's going to sit up there and watch what C said earlier. It just took my man bringing out one glove, and we sit up there boxing with one glove, and he took it to the next step. That's the way that we have to move nowadays, expecting everybody to assist with one another's movements. And everything you're doing is a positive plus, man. But one more thing I wanted to ask you, too, because we've been talking about you training me, you training C. Who else do you train? What are some of the options that people have? Are there women involved, men, kids? Like, what are you just strictly men? Like,
We do group classes for the ladies on Saturdays. It's basically like self-defense. I remember when we first started it, there's a group of ladies, and there's a couple of them who work like in
ladies.
who worked in the hospitals, and they work like overnights and things of that nature. So
Okay.
they'd be leaving their shift late at night, getting to their cars, and a lot of people just think like a female is a target, but depending on the female, you might find yourself in a bad situation, depending. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's good for you to know what to do for yourself and protect yourself in certain situations that you might find yourself into. And again, training and working out is always good. It helps the mental, it helps the physical, it helps the spiritual. A lot of depression comes from lack of working out. A lot of self doubt come from lack of working out. You'll find a person who's athletic and who goes to the gym on a regular basis. They're more confident in themselves. They stand with with a better base. Like they're confident. They walk differently.
But
you know what
women
I mean?
are not just limited to the Saturday
Right.
boot camp.
They can come in on a one-on-one as well. They can come in on a personal training level. The whole format. But like I said, sometimes a group class can help a person feel a little bit more comfortable. Just like we like to be on a one-on-one, just like C said. C he likes to be on a one-on-one because it's like he's trying to basically like get his hands better. In order for you to get your hands better, sometimes it's better to be on a one-on-one. But in a situation, especially with the ladies, and then they trying to do something, they might be better in a group format. But again, if you don't like a group, you can do a one-on-one. I have no problems with it because it's like I do have ladies that tell you straight up, I don't want to do a group. I want to do a one-on-one.
A lot of people that do groups, they're afraid to like perform. You know what I mean? So it's like when they doing groups, they just tuck in the back.
But
Yeah.
You
hopefully,
don't want to tuck in the back. You want to.
but hopefully something like this, if they see like this coach is moving in the realm that he's easy to talk to, communicate with, those people, maybe they might sign up for the group class initially, and then,
Lock them in, yes sir. I've done that. Some people have come in with a friend, like they'll come in with their sister, they come in with their auntie, they come in with their cousins, and they're like, I like his energy, I like his presence, and I want to do a one-on-one instead of doing the group because it's like there's somebody in the group that talk to them much, and then they want to do their own thing.
Is it
So,
women? Is it women only and men only? When I say that, I mean
Well,
the
the
age
group class.
do you-
There's a group class for ladies. It's a ladies group class.
Okay.
The emphasis on it is ladies group class.
Okay.
I've heard ladies ask, "Can my boyfriend come in?" I was like, "Well, it's a ladies group class, so that's gonna be weird if your boyfriend's in there." And then the guys basically like there is a group class for the guys, kind of sorta, because it's like the sparring session is strictly guys, but we do have a lady in there. I'm not gonna throw her name out there, but she fights with the guys.
Yeah, see, and I noticed
You know
that. That's
what
why I wanted to bring that up to let the women know. Now, what about age groups? So, okay, that's the ladies. So, can they bring a child that might be 8 years old?
No, not in the ladies group class. In the ladies
Well,
group
not
class.
just specifically that, but
Right.
do you train or do you work with any?
We
you have anything
do
for
little people, but for the most part, I try not to go like no lower than like 7, 8 or 7, because it's like when they're that young, you start talking
Yeah,
to
yeah,
them, they
yeah.
literally be like,
They like they
I
want a
have
lollipop.
no idea what you're saying.
Like they want a
You
lollipop.
know what I mean? And then they do the
Where's
pee-pee
the
dance.
lollipop?
They want to talk to you about Yu-Gi-Oh. They do One Punch Man or whatever the case may be. You know.
You were saying that yesterday.
So basically, that's the whole concept. So you fall into the category where you want to help somebody do something, but when they're that young, you don't want to discipline somebody's kids and things of that nature. Because sometimes if you're training a person that young, you'd want their parents to be there, and some kids don't perform well when their parents are there. You know, so all those things are major factors. You
It's
try
too
to
much pressure.
exactly because
Yo,
they
when your
they keep on
parents
looking
are
at their
watching you,
parents
you
the
feel
whole
mad
time.
pressure on your back.
So
It's like, man, I'm not paying this for no reason. You better learn something. You better
so
do something.
there's all kinds of situations. That's the reason why personally I'm like, hey, I'd rather train them when they basically like in their teens instead of extra young. But some young cats are freaking superb. I had like a little 9-year-old, and he moves around better than some 14-year-olds. You know what I'm saying?
Better
But
than me, I was gonna say. Like, listen,
but
hey, some
but
got the gift, right?
but we're talking about 1 out of 15, and you can't pick one and then
Right,
just
right,
run
right.
into him and be like, oh yeah, that's the one that got the talent. Because it's like you might think he's gonna listen, and you're like, oh my goodness, he was singing the whole time. You know what I mean? So he might just start singing to himself, whatever the case.
It kind of
may be.
remind me
So-
of coaching basketball. Like we would have like 100 kids running in the
Right.
gym working out, and you say, okay, this kid's got the Jordans on, the
Mhm.
headband on.
Yeah,
He's got
he
nice
looks the
dribble.
part.
He looks the part.
Yeah.
Then when you draft him to your team, and he shows up for practice.
Yeah, he sucks like me.
Practices.
I look the part.
Not necessarily that. I would say I found more of this. At 7 p.m. is practice. This kid is so nice that his parents feel he should get there at 7:10. So he gets there at 7:10. Then you want to institute
he
plays.
doesn't get to warm up.
And then you instituting plays, okay. And then he's like, okay, well, I don't really need that play. I think I could get it this way. So I find sometimes the people that you think are going to help you or you want to help them, it's actually the reverse. I like that kid that's sitting in the back that is really not trying to shine. That's the one I'm going to get the most out of. That's the one that I want to see, and I want to bring him or her, because I coach females too, out of that picture of, okay, I can't do it. I'm like, there's something in you that you can do it. There's nothing like getting that pleasure of seeing that kid at the end of the season saying, win or lose, because championships don't define me. It's you winning the championship with that person if at the end of the season they're better, they're confident, because sports, although boxing may or may not be considered a sport because you don't play it.
It's
you
a
box.
combat. It's a combat sport. It's a sport, but it's a combat sport. You can die in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You get
So,
hit the
yeah,
wrong
it's a
way.
lot different.
This is your last. This is your last session. So.
Yeah. So, but definitely, along those lines is when they could come to you and you see that growth.
Right.
Like there's no feeling that's more fulfilling than that. When you say, okay, at the end of this year session, this 6-month session, this 3-week session, whatever it is, you've gotten better. Like, you feel more confident in yourself. Like you could take this, and there's so many realms to everything that we do. It's not just the actual sport. It's leadership. It's brotherhood. It's community. Like it's communication. It's just so many things that you can learn and pick up from anything that you do. And I just want to say it's been a pleasure. I definitely, appreciate you sitting down.
Yes, sir.
FirmFit. I want you to give a shout out to, not a shout out, but announce all your social media platforms where people could reach you or talk to you.
Well, FirmFit is basically like where you catch me. FirmFit Training and Boxing. FirmFit Training and Boxing on Facebook. FirmFit Training and Boxing on Instagram. FirmFitTraining.com is basically the website. If you want to set up an appointment, everything is FirmFit Training. So it's either FirmFit Training or FirmFit Training and Boxing. So whatever you're looking for us on, even on Google, you put FirmFit Training and Boxing, you'll find us on Google with a couple of pictures, a couple of videos with a little bit of reviews. YouTube, we got a couple of sparring sessions with the boys and things of that nature. We try our best to make sure that we make ourselves available for the most part. You wish it could be better, but it could be much worse. You analyze the situation. We try to make it without faking it, so to speak. All the guys that basically that come in here, We try to make sure they try to advance to the best of their ability. Again, like a guy like C who says he doesn't want to be a fighter per se, but I feel like he still has great technique and great energy and great natural abilities and natural talent. And again, I wouldn't give my key to a cat that I feel like
Right.
if somebody come in and they ask him a question, he wouldn't even have a fucking answer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to whoever.
Right.
So if somebody come in and they go like, hey, listen, I've been throwing my punches like this, and you're gonna be like, hey, don't throw your punch like that because you're gonna hurt your hand, or don't throw your punch like that because you didn't put your core into it, you're gonna hurt your shoulder. Don't throw your hook from the outside. Turn into the hook, whatever the case
Right,
may be.
right.
Keep the chin down. Don't keep your head up because you can get your jaw broke if you get caught. That type of format. He doesn't have to be a trainer, or he doesn't have to be like a fighter because he doesn't want to be called a fighter. But I still feel he can still have enough knowledge that he could give an individual that walked through the door a basic information. If I was to walk out right now and a person came in and I'm like, hey, go talk to my guy for 5 minutes while I'm in the car or wherever, or if I'm talking to Jay outside and I put you in his hand, you wouldn't be deterred. You wouldn't be thrown in the wrong spot. And he's very humble, very respectful, but he ain't no pushover at the same time. It's a fucking balance. If you find the balance, because there's a lot of people who don't have balance.
Right.
If you don't have balance, because just because you're tough, that don't mean you can't be respectful. Just because you can hit hard, that don't mean you can't hug. You know what I'm saying? Just because,
Or even cry.
yeah. Well, to each his
Big-
own.
big-
So you know what I'm
big
saying?
cry,
If I'm cutting onions, I will cry. But I'm just saying. So, but anyway, I haven't shed a tear in a while. So basically, like but to each his own. So the whole concept is you need to find the balance between the two choices that you make to the best of your ability. Again, like I hold grudges, but I try not to hold grudges as much as much. But that's probably my biggest weakness, in my opinion, is the fact that I hold grudges and I don't let go. And I try my best to change that. But besides that,
That's me. But the one thing my mom told me that I took to her, she said, "Clean your heart."
yeah.
And how about you? You want to give your social media out? I mean, you don't have to if you don't want
Nah,
to.
I'm
Okay,
I'm
that's fine.
low
That's
key,
fine.
I'm
That's
low
Very
key.
private, very
That's cool.
I'm a
private.
very private.
Nah, it's all good.
That's why, like, at the beginning, you could tell,
No,
like, I'm like,
we just appreciate you because obviously he left, you in charge on Mondays and stuff like that. So it's imperative that you was a part of this because people may see you, people may see this video, and then people are going to see this video and they may show up Monday and you're there and he's not here. They're gonna be like, and they're like, oh, what happened to Coach? So this is good to have you here. I'm glad you was a part of this. I'm glad you took the time out to speak
Yes,
to
sir.
me again. FirmFit Trainings, appreciate it. Listen, man, you know what it is, man. This is J Defense, man. Mask Uncovered Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I want to say rest in peace to my Aunt Dorothy. We miss you. We love you. And y'all stay tuned, man. We got a lot more coming in store, man. But check out FirmFit Training. All right? Peace.